Hello and welcome to our Instagram Live. Today we're going to be discussing student wellbeing and the support that's available to students. Please leave any comments that you have in the comment section below as it's currently being monitored. My name's Hannah, I'm a wellbeing advisor at the university and I work within the support and guidance team where we provide support and guidance to students on any wellbeing queries that they have within the service.
I'm Sarah and I'm doing a Master's in Clinical Psychology currently and the user of the services provided by Hannah.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Alejandra and I'm a current student of a Master's in Digital Innovation and Analytics and I also work as a postgraduate ambassador.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm in my third year doing law.
That's great. So we have some pre-submitted questions. Just to start off, Hannah, would you be able to tell us about the different kinds of support you offer here at Royal Holloway?
Yeah, of course. So we have lots of support available at Royal Holloway, especially within the wellbeing team. We have a lot of teams available depending on what support students need most. We have our international teams, we have our finance teams, but we also have our main wellbeing teams for emotional support and mental health support, for example, support guidance. So we are normally the first port of call to students with any general worries or concerns that want to speak to someone and don't know where to go to. We can then signpost them and refer them to mental health and counselling. We also have the student union as well that offer independent advice for students amongst other teams within the service, for example our funding team also.
That's great. So how would you manage your wellbeing and stress levels?
As a student, hopefully. So I think for me it's been time, really, just to be able to know what is the priority at what point and to be able to take enough time to allocate different things. Doing things together and thinking you'll be able to do all of them together usually doesn't work. The system is kind of made in the way that you do have deadlines set out throughout the year. So kind of planning things around that kind of really helps. Personally, I've used the wellbeing team many times and I think that's been very helpful for me, specifically the counselling team. So I think you can do that as well. But I would say time is the biggest thing that's helped me to kind of have periods of break in the middle, not do things last minute because that never helps. And also being social with people, so allocating time for that as well has been able to kind of help me manage. If there's anything else you'd like to add as well.
I can add to that. What you were mentioning, actually the timing is really stressful.
Yeah.
So if you can prioritize things. So what helps me a lot is having a lot of notes, having a lot of lists. So I put the most important thing that I have for the week on top and start just crossing one thing at a time after I finish the thing that I need to do for the week. Because there are a lot of deadlines and a lot of stress coming when you're doing, in our case at least, a master's. I know it works the same way for undergrad students. I have a lot of friends who are dealing with the same kind of stress, with the same kind of issues all the time. And another thing, I also went to a lot of events with wellbeing. It helped me a lot. There were these book days the last term, and it was really helpful for me to meet new people who were into the things that I liked, meeting new people and listening to this little advice that they were dropping, like one-on-one. It made me feel really well. So that helped me a lot, and also adding up to what you were saying, staying social. Don't stay in your room, just go outside, meet new people, meet new friends, especially if you're an international person coming from abroad, starting like from scratch. A degree, either if it's undergrad or postgrad, it helps a lot to stay social, make new friends, meet new people.
Yeah, I'd agree with scheduling time and being social as well. And I quite like to combine the two. So doing study with friends, I think is a really nice way to make it, then it doesn't feel as horrible.
Yes.
You can enjoy it, go somewhere that you like being and study together. It's nicer.
Yeah, I think that's where I just agree. Most important things are schedule your time, make sure that you're speaking to support and you're not withdrawing, make sure you're speaking to friends and family and wellbeing services, make sure you're keeping on top of things but still finding time to be social, and just try and enjoy yourself and don't think that your exams are the end, you know, the worst thing ever. You know, just try and relax and enjoy yourself but also plan ahead. I think it's the main thing.
That's great. And do you have any advice on how to manage first day nerves and meeting new people?
Going to activities. So that helped me a lot. When I first arrived, it was quite hard. It was quite a change, and I didn't know anyone here. So it was really helpful to find all the activities the university has planned, especially at the beginning of the term. So just go to these activities, find people you can talk to everyone as much as you can. Find little activities that you can do as well. For me it was, and it took me time to realize this, but just going for walks. Royal Holloway is in a really nice place where you can just walk like 10 minutes away and you have Virginia waters. So for me, it works really nicely. I just go out if I have like a whole day of working right now on an assignment, on the dissertation or whatever. I just say like, no, get up and go for a walk. Just leave the stress behind.
Also, I think like societies really help with that. So Royal Holloway is home to 150 plus societies. So it might feel like, oh, well, it's the first day, how am I going to talk to people? But you can just go to places that you like and then kind of find similar activities to do with people, and most people find friends there. So for me personally, I went to Frisbee and I found really good friends there. I went skateboarding, I found really good friends there. So I feel like that medium really helps with socializing and kind of calms you down, because you already like what you're doing, it's just with people. And also remember that it's everybody's first day, it's not just yours. Everybody's a bit jittery, everybody's a bit nervous, but it gets out of your system when you're doing something you like.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point actually, that it is normal to feel
Yeah.
anxious. You are going to get first day nerves, and there's not really any advice that's been given to help not have them, because it's a normal experience. But I think just try and find out before you start as well who you're going to be with. Do research. We have peer guides as well, so when students start university they have a buddy and a mentor that they can speak to if they do have any worries or concerns, and students are more than welcome to contact Wellbeing Services before starting as well if they wanted to set up a meeting and find out about the other services that we've got beforehand. So yeah, I think that's great. That's really cool.
Yeah, one thing I did was join, like, there's lots of freshers group chats before you go, and you can make friends on there and kind of arrange to meet up before you go, so that it doesn't feel as daunting. And then, yeah, just speak to as many people as you can, everyone's in the same boat. Yeah, it's exciting.
It is.
And if you're sort of living away from campus, where can you get support?
Well, you can still access support in the same way that you would be if you lived on campus. We have online drop-ins as well as in person, so students can have a face-to-face meeting with our team, support and guidance, but they can also do that with the disability team and also the counselling team. So there's a lot of online support available as well as in person, but students can also contact local services near to them as well as internal support available. But I think there's also some societies as well that help cater to students who don't live on campus, which I think is something that's quite beneficial to get students involved as much as possible, because obviously it's quite hard being away from home and not being on campus, but it's completely doable and there's support available if needed online.
Also, it seems like a lot of people might think that we're not living on campus. It's a bit of like a disadvantage, but I can tell you that all the support that I have had from the Wellbeing team has been online. So it's like even when you're here, you'd rather do that because it reduces the friction that you kind of need to go, and then it's easier. So I don't think that's as much of a disadvantage as it seems like right now. So yeah.
It's great. We've got a question which is related to sort of financial support. Are there any part-time jobs available on campus?
Yes, there are. I'm a student ambassador. We're all student ambassadors here. That's one part-time job that you could do. Very flexible, but also there are specific part-time jobs that do come out. So we have loads of different places that need kind of hiring that comes under student union. So you have places like a lot of eateries, a lot of cafes. You've got Starbucks, you've got Costa, and it's all run by students. So you can have longer hours of part-time as well as doing something more flexible like we are. I don't think finding a part-time job is difficult here. It's just about your timing and when you apply. I don't know what your experiences have been, but I have a really good experience with part-times, yeah. At least in the university. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of options
Yeah.
for options to suit everyone really.
There is a jobs board as well on the university intranet for students to have a look to see what jobs are coming up. There's obviously jobs available in the university part-time, but also students can find jobs in the local area. But also within wellbeing, we have our money advisors that offer support on budgeting and money tips and how to make the best of your money at university, which is really important, especially with students trying to juggle student loan and all the other money and financial problems that come with it. So you're welcome to drop into Money Matters as well, either via the drop-in or just send them an email. All the details are available on our website, and then that's a really good option as well.
One thing I just wanted to add was a lot of time people feel like a pressure to have a part-time job because they're going to be part of so many things that happen within the society, the university. And the thing is that societies kind of provide bursaries for you if you're interested in specific things and you apply for that. And it's all paid for you, all the activities that you do within the society. So that's something to look forward to as well. There is a lot of financial support if you look for it.
That's great. And what kind of support can you get if you're a mature student or have been away from education for a while?
Well, like I've said before, the same goes for all students needing support. Please feel free to reach out to Wellbeing. We'll support all students. But also I think what's another good thing to mention is CDAS, which is academic support that can also support students with one-to-one meetings and give mentoring and academic advice, which will be beneficial if you haven't been in education for a little while. But there's also help desks that are available and personal tutors on board. So there's lots of support available no matter what stage of education that you're currently at.
Yeah, see, that's really good to help with like academic writing. They've proofread some of my essays before and helped me like interpret the questions.
Yeah.
And they're quite like
Very
They're really helpful.
really helpful.
And they answer quite quickly actually.
Yeah.
And you can also get the support online.
Yeah,
All the
one-to-one
meetings I've had
meetings.
with
Yeah.
CDAS were online and they were really helpful. They gave me good feedback, and after I was done, they kept emailing me, do you still need help? Do you still need any assistance? I'm like, yeah, but I'm good. But yeah, they're really helpful as well.
They are definitely. I've used, and this is something for international students as well. It's understandable that you would feel like, oh, it's a new system that I have to adapt to. You could feel anxious about it, but they kind of bring you up to speed almost, and they kind of provide that space where you can question and you could just be nervous and anxious around them. I don't know what's happening, and they might help you with it as well. So CDAS, definitely.
Yeah.
That's great. And where can you go if you need help with your coursework and assignments?
CDAS.
Yeah.
And is there any mental health support for students worried about starting university?
Yeah, well, we've touched on this a little bit, but the same thing goes. More than welcome to contact us at Wellbeing before starting. It's the same process. We can offer one-to-one meetings still. If students haven't joined yet, we can have that as an online meeting beforehand. So that's something that we can put in the interim before starting. But I think if you're a new student, like we said, try and find out who you're going to be around, who's in your halls, or who you're going to be studying with. Try and engage as much as possible with the emails that get sent round about what's on, events as well. I think it's really important. We have a lot of wellbeing events that have been mentioned, which helps students to deal with anxiety and stress, and we have a lot of these events that are put on throughout the year, so just get involved really, and try not to worry too much as a new student starting. I think that's everyone's in the same boat, everyone's going to be worried, but please reach out to us if you do need the support.
That's great. And another question sort of related to financial support. Where can you buy food on campus, and is it cheaper to buy on campus?
Depends if you're in a graduate.
I find it cheaper to buy food off campus, but there are lots of places on campus that are obviously quite convenient if you're there. There's the SU shop, there's quite a lot of little cafes dotted all around.
Yeah. For me, it's cheaper to go to the Tuesdays market.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going on right now in summer, but it was really great to have the possibility of going and buying your weekly groceries there. To me, it was actually quite cheaper. At least it wasn't that bad. But for everything else, Egham is just like 10 minutes away. So
Yeah, virtually around. Plus also, if you're an undergraduate living in catered halls, then you would get a third or like a percentage off of every food that's available around the campus. So that really comes in clutch and that really helps as well. So it depends what you're doing. So if in halls, definitely make use of that. Yeah.
And if there's an emergency, are there any sort of local doctors in the area?
There's a uni doctor that you can sign up to that's in Founders that I signed up to when I moved here. So then you literally just go out to campus to visit the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a GP that's on campus, like you said. That is external, it's an NHS GP, obviously. So that is separate to wellbeing, but students can register and sign up because it's so convenient being right on campus. In terms of emergency support, there's security 24/7. Wellbeing aren't an emergency service, so we don't offer 24/7 support. But if students do need support for mental health, whilst they're on campus and it's Monday between 9 and 5, then we'd be happy to see a student. But I'd say contact security if it's not an emergency, otherwise please call the emergency services if it is.
That's great. And are there any financial support or grants available to help with buying books or travelling?
I'm sure there's something.
I think it would be best for that question just to email Money Matters. They'll be able to say kind of what other financial options are available for students, and all their details are available on the website. But obviously it differs depending on the course and personal circumstances, so it's hard just to answer as one concrete question.
A lot of the books that you don't really actually need to buy because they're in the library. You can access them online, so it's not like a big.
I've had books throughout the year, just because I had to like borrow and like read through, and then I never really had to buy outside. I could just borrow.
Or second hand is a really good option as well. Just Facebook Marketplace or
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great. And how accessible are support services for students, and where is the best place to find them?
Well, it's really accessible because you don't even have to go outside of your house if you don't want to. You can just access it online. You can contact us via email, or we have drop-ins as well. Some teams have phone numbers, but we mainly work by email, and we'll get back to you really quickly, or drop in. We're located in Founders East, so yeah, very, very accessible.
Because also when you have your first day here, the first week is Specials Week, it's not just societies, there are a lot of other people kind of advertising what goes on. I got my access to kind of like what happens with well-being on my first day when I was here. They have their own kiosk and I went there, so it's kind of like they promote that as well, and then they kind of show you different avenues through which you can access them. So again, it's not like one of those things where it's completely in the dark somewhere and you're going out hunting. It's very much in your face everywhere, so it's very accessible.
And I can just add one more thing. I also found out a lot about well-being services and all the university services through social media.
Yeah.
The university is really social and really manages a good communication towards the students and followers. So my advice there would be just follow as many as the university's social media as you can, because they post absolutely everything, all the events, all you need to know is there.
That's a great point, and we have a Royal Holloway Wellbeing Instagram page specifically as well, so that's a great thing to follow if students want to keep up to date with what's going on.
And how do you cope with any sort of stress or anxiety that you're feeling while you're studying?
Well, I think one thing I already said about time. Personally for me, I think in times of severe crisis, I have gone to well-being team. I've had counselling, and there is mental health support, and I'm aware that my friends have done the same thing as well. Samaritans really help. That's a 24/7 like crisis helpline. That's helped me. Kind of also speaking to my personal tutor, that kind of always puts me in perspective of the magnitude of how much I'm thinking of what the thing is and what it actually really, how much it's actually worth. So I think that, and I think something that Maria said earlier, going on walks, we are placed in a beautiful campus and it never gets old. You never get tired of looking at the campus building. So just getting out, stepping out, talking to people as well, that really helps. For me, it's also about changing my environment. So we've got different kinds of libraries. So I go sit in different libraries, take a little snack, and that also really helps. And lastly, I also realized that hundreds and thousands of students have gone through this before me, and they survived, hopefully. So I can as well. So that's what helps me. I'm not sure what helps you guys.
You can as well get you get a certain amount of extensions you can use a year. So you don't have to have a reason really or anything. You can just use the extensions. That takes the pressure off a little bit if you're a bit worried about a piece of work, and then gives you a bit more time. You could take a day off, take a breather, and then get back to working on it.
Yes. Having a good communication with your peers also helped me personally a lot. In my class, being able to communicate with them, working with them, it's like if I have questions, they're going through the same thing. I'm not alone in this. Talking with my professors as well. I need help with this. I'm not understanding this. Not feeling bad about not catching up as fast as the others. And also, like, yeah, you were mentioning, to me, going on a walk, just changing the scenery is one of the most helpful things that have been there for me in this experience. And yeah, also contacted the wellbeing team a couple of times. It was really helpful on the worst crisis I've had. It was really helpful to find someone being able to listen to me in a more professional way. So that also helped a lot.
Yeah, I think that's great. So it's really important just to change your environment. If you are at a stage where you're sitting down, nothing's going in, you just can't revise at all, just get outside, leave it, come back to it, speak to friends, socialise, and come back to it at a time that you feel better. Because changing the trigger point for your anxiety is really important.
And on the topic of your departments and study, are you all assigned tutors as well within your department? So have you been able to kind of go to those academics if it's a query that you're unsure of?
Yeah, like I mentioned previously as well, my personal tutor happened to be my professor as well, and that's been very helpful. And also dissertation supervisors. So you've got a supervisor for like different things, and you can contact them, and it's always been very, very helpful for me personally.
So there's also office hours. So for all the professors have office hours that you can go to, and you can speak to them about any questions you have in that time, one-on-one.
I think there are different experiences, but you get like a whole lot of options. You get the personal tutor that you're contacted to like at the beginning of the term, and if you get along with them well, like you were mentioning at the beginning, you get like a lot of conversations with them. In my case, it's, to be honest, I've had that experience more with my my dissertation advisor. I'm having a really good connection and conversations with her that are helping me go through the stress of working in this final assignment for me. But you get a lot of options in order to contact with this professional team.
That's great. I'm just going to say a final call out for any other questions. We have just had two come through that aren't really related to wellbeing, but I'm just going to ask them. And the first one that I see says, when will I receive my accommodation confirmation? And that's just one for me to answer from behind the camera. So we did host an Instagram Live 2 weeks ago, which will be on our Instagram feed that you can watch back to go into more detail on accommodation. But you should receive your offer shortly via your email. So do keep a lookout for that. It will be in the next couple of weeks. And then the other question that I can ask, which I think Maria, you should be able to touch on a little bit, is Royal Holloway a good university for business and management? I'm looking into it and I'm not sure which one to pick.
It is actually. I had a couple of options before choosing Royal Holloway, and I got really interested because it has, at least in my case, in this master's in particular, it targets really specific subjects. So as I was mentioning, it actually, every time that I say it, it sounds fancy. It's not that fancy, but it's really specific. Like you get to learn more about a specific subject into business. And I think that Royal Holloway does the same thing with a lot of subjects. You have a different kind of variety of subjects to choose from. And in the business matter, I did a really thoroughly research, and it's on the top of the list of universities in the UK as well. I think it's 35 if I'm not mistaken. So it's actually really good. You should definitely read more into whatever course you're interested in, but to my experience, it's a really good university if you're looking into business matters or subjects.
Great. And then last question would be, so for those that are watching, they may be receiving their their A-level results pending coming to university. What piece of advice would you give to those students who may be worrying about their grades and what comes next? Kind of what mindset or piece of advice would you give them?
Do your best to answer.
Yes.
Yes. So maybe just think that everything will work out in some way. There's clearing and adjustment. So even if you don't get the results you hope for, you can make offers with different universities on the day and make new arrangements. And wherever you end up, all universities are universities, and you will enjoy it.
So that's the end of our live. Thank you for your comments. If you do have any more questions, then please feel free to email us. You can also email the wellbeing team as well if you have any more questions specifically related to that.